Summer is a time where routine just kind of goes out the window for me. I spend a lot more time out with friends. I also get a lot more inspired, and I like to allow myself that time to just run with wherever that inspiration takes me. But that leads to a backlog of tasks, things that get moved from one weekly to-do list to another. So I find the best way to deal with that is to just dedicate a week to dealing with everything all at once, no matter what. So I started yesterday with a brain dump, of course, just getting down everything on paper, all those niggling tasks that have been running around in my head. Also looking back on the master to-do list that I just add to whenever a little task comes up that isn't, urgent. And it's mainly life admin stuff. One of the things that came up was booking a dentist appointment. I'd like to find some bedside tables. I want to finish a painting study that I keep putting off. And then work-wise, I have the usual stuff, videos I need to film and edit, work that needs to be done in the shop, emails of course, because there's always emails, and just a load of other stuff that I keep finding excuses not to do. Then I started batching together similar tasks, things that I'll be doing on the computer, things that I might be doing in the kitchen, tasks that will require leaving the house. Most of this stuff isn't time sensitive. I would just like to have it done by the end of the week. So the things that did have deadlines attached to them, I pushed right to the beginning of the week and then batched similar tasks with them that I could be doing at the same time. I find it a lot easier to keep focus when I'm entering a specific zone, whether it's going to be an admin day, an outdoor chore day, that kind of thing. So then it was time for my productive week to begin. Monday was all about settling back into a more structured way of living. I actually spent last week in Berlin at IFA with Intel, which is a huge tech show. It was a lot of fun. I met some fantastic people, ate some amazing food, got to see a lot of Berlin that I didn't get to see the first time I went there, but it was totally exhausting. The introvert in me was so desperate to get back and just recharge my batteries. So that's what yesterday was all about. After just giving myself some time to get all the stuff swirling around in my head onto paper, I knew that the rest of the day would be spent on my computer. First and foremost, I had a backlog of emails to work through. I'll generally check my emails every day, and most of the time I can stick to inbox 0, but when there's a lot going on, emails are one of the first things I let slip. I always try to respond to the most urgent ones as and when they come in, and then the rest I'll tackle all in one long sitting like today. While I was at it, I had some content to send over to a brand for approval, and since that was Instagram related, I also used that time to edit and schedule some Instagram posts to go up. This all took a couple of hours altogether, so at that point I thought it was time for a break, just so I don't get burnt out first thing in my productive week. So I grabbed some food, grabbed a cold coffee, got back in front of the computer and worked on still some tasks on the list, but less work related. I was looking for some wool and some knitting needles. I'm joining a bit of a knitting club with some friends, a knit and natter as they say, or a stitch and bitch as we've called it, but I needed to get all the things together to get started with that. Now, to be honest, I'm not really that keen on knitting, never really have been. I like a craft that I feel I would use practically, and I'm not that into knitted things. I like a scarf and a jumper here and there, but I don't know how much I would really make. But what I really want to do with this is spend some time out of the house, spend some time with friends, have a kind of thing that I can commit to, and a sociable time that doesn't involve drinking and staying out too late. So we'll see, I might get into it. After that I headed to the office to pack some orders. I've got a real rhythm going on now with the new products in the shop. I like being able to introduce new items a little bit at a time to get the packaging into my muscle memory. I bundle the postcards individually rather than pre-packaging them, just because I like to treat each order separately, and it helps with quality control. I can check every item within each order. For example, the sticker sheets are really lovely print quality. The place I had them sent out to get printed, I was really happy with that, but where they've cut each sheet apart from each other, some of the edges have become frayed, so I do kind of have a quick look over every single sticker sheet, and if there are any frayed edges that I can take care of, I'll have to do that manually with some scissors. I don't know if it's even something that people would notice, but I like each order to be as special as it can be. Then finally, as it started to get darker outside, I committed the rest of my day to editing, which I ended up doing on my laptop because for some reason that's where I'd saved the footage, so that wasn't an issue at all. It was one of those rare days where Ozzy was actually home in the evening, so he took care of dinner while I finished working, and when I crossed off that last item on my Monday tasks list, we had some dinner, watched some Bake Off and got an early night. So I'm feeling good going into today. I'm going to be at the computer all day. I've already spent some time uploading and sorting out the video that I edited yesterday, getting the captions all written up for that, and generally it's just going to be an admin-y day. I've got a lot of stuff to do today that I really don't want to, but I think it's better to get it done at this early point in the week so I can forget about it and just move on. But yeah, I'm going to enter a kind of focus zone, work on a kind of Pomodoro-esque schedule and just crack on with it. Yes, I'm finally away from my desk. I've made the decision that next time I decide to do one of these productive weeks, I'm not going to put 2 computer days back to back because, oh my god, that was really starting to get a bit heavy. I was really starting to lose focus just being stuck in one spot at my desk for pretty much 2 days non-stop. And also physically, I was really feeling it. Yeah, I'm going to make sure that today I spend some time up and about, moving around. I think I mentioned that some plans got shifted a little bit. My stitch and bitch I thought would be in the evening today, so I had a lot crammed in for today task-wise, but we're actually doing that at lunchtime, so I'm going to try and fit tasks either side of that, get some stuff done this morning and some stuff done in the evening. Had a bit of a late start today just because we were waiting for a food delivery, and I had about an hour's worth of washing up to do this morning because when your boyfriend is a chef, they have to use every single utensil in the kitchen every time they cook. And honestly, I would love to stay in all day today and just knuckle down and move around and do all the bits and bobs that I really want to get done. But I think it's important today that I do leave the house, get some fresh air, do some walking and socialise with people, since the only time I left the house yesterday was to take the bins out. So I've got about 2 hours now before I head out, and the plan is to spend that time in the kitchen. So I have to make a batch of cat food that should last me 2 to 3 weeks. We also have some apples that are on the turn, so I'm going to use those to make some applesauce that I can use in smoothies and breakfast for the next few days. I also make my own hair gel, so I will be making up a new batch of that. And then I should have just enough time to clean up all the mess I've just made, hopefully some time to have a bit to eat, and then I'll be ready to head out. Yesterday was lovely. While I am now behind schedule, it was just nice to hang out and laugh and walk. I really needed a walk. So far today I have finally finished a painting study that I actually started in one of my last videos like this one. I had already done the fun part of the painting and I'd been putting off finishing it off, but it needed doing and it was on the list, so it got done. I also have been responding to comments from the video that I put up earlier this week. I had some emails that needed doing. And now I am just dealing with a few items of clothing that can't just be chucked in the washing machine. A few specialist cleaning things that tend to build up because I just can't be bothered to do it. So they pile up and stay dirty. So I have this jumper that needs hand washing, and then a t-shirt and my favourite jumpsuit that has grease stains on it. So I'm hoping that this tried and true method of baking soda and dish soap is going to get those stains out. Now that that's all in the washing machine, it's time for another one of those big overarching tasks that's been hanging over me. So I like to keep my clothes relatively to a minimum. I like to know what I have and just love it and use it. So I recently got this wardrobe secondhand. I spent a little bit of time neatening it up. And the size of it, the amount of space it has, really helps with streamlining what I have, what I keep, because there just isn't enough space for excess. And I've moved most of my clothes over with no issue, but there are still a few bits and bobs left to move over. I keep a lot of my products in these drawers, hair products and things, so I'm gonna have to really cut down on those to be able to fit everything in here. And then there's a few more clothes, mainly lounge clothes, and I definitely don't need as many lounge clothes as I've got. So that's gonna be the main task right now, to empty out these drawers, to clear this rail, and to get everything in here. Well, that was surprisingly easy, but now it's time to address the elephant in the room, this little corner over here where I've been dumping spare bags, my suitcase, scarves, coats, just extra stuff that is going to be extra highlighted once I move these drawers out of the way. So I think it's time to go through all of this stuff, get rid of any bikinis and sarongs and scarves that I'm not using anymore, and hopefully get everything down to where I can fit it into just the suitcase alone, and then find somewhere to put the suitcase.
As long as I waited without a sign, 'cause I know what matters to you. But what do you want? What's your biggest need? Every hour we spend together, and suddenly the chances are small, just like the lottery.
These white drawers can now go in the art room for now. I don't know if we're going to keep them, but it'll be handy to have them around just in case. But first I need to move out some big boxes, some heavy boxes that I've been storing in there for way too long. I need to move those over to my mum's house because that's where I keep all my kind of excess stock for my shop and excess art supplies, but they are very heavy, and I'm going over to my mum's house later today anyway, so I'm going to see if she can pop round in a bit and bring the car and just save me a few journeys back and forth. Hi Mama, how's it going? And I'm coming round later, so I was wondering if you could drive round and I could put them in the car and then... Okay, cool. Thank you very, very much. Bye. Bye. And while we're working on storage, I thought I might as well bring these shelves up that have been completely underutilised downstairs. I thought they'd be much more better served in the art room, and I can just quickly take apart this clothing rail, stash it where I stash everything that I don't know where to put. And the final thing that I need to do today, now that those drawers are out of the way, I thought it'd be a nice spot for this table that my grandma gave me. But before I really settle it into place, there's a little bit of a wobble to it, so I'm going to see what I can do about that.
Chances are small, just like the lottery.
I'm really pleased with the progress that I made this week. I don't think this is a realistic way to live day to day, in productivity overload, but I think it's nice to make a dent in some of those, those tasks that you keep putting off. I think it's nice to dedicate some time to that every once in a while, and I'm already thinking about what I'm going to get done next time I have a week like this. But for now, I am looking forward to getting back into a normal day-to-day regime, a normal way of living, especially without the weight of some of these tasks hanging over me anymore. It is nice to wipe the slate clean at least a little bit. Today I'm just going to finish off with a bit of online shopping, just some stuff that needs a bit more time put into sourcing it and researching it, and then I need to draw up a list of the things that I need to pick up in person. But it's going to be a chill one. I'm going to spend it in bed all day, probably with the company of little tea, until I head out this evening for a friend's birthday. But I would love to know if you guys do the same thing, if you batch together all the tasks that you don't want to get done and just whack through them, or if you're better at getting through them as and when they need to be done. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you soon for the next video.